Greetings fellow Whovians, welcome to Timey Wimey Review and my spoiler talk / reactions to the latest episode of Season 1 of Doctor Who, 73 Yards. Yes, we are going to go into full-on spoilers in this video, you have been warned, but before I go into it, obviously this is week 4 of, this is the 4th episode of Doctor Who, and I keep meaning to watch it at midnight, but I just haven't for various reasons, mainly due to sleep. So I've been watching it early in the morning, and I just wanted to know, let me know in the comments if you've been the same. Have you been watching it live, or in the UK or US or wherever you are around the world? Have you just got up in the morning or whenever just to watch it on Disney Plus or BBC iPlayer, or have you been watching it live in the UK? I would love to know how you've been watching Doctor Who Season 1 so far. And also a big hello to all the fellow Whovians that have attended MCM London Comic Con this weekend, because there's a really special attraction for Doctor Who, including a showing of this episode, 73 Yards, and a special Q&A. I think that was exclusive to the con. So if you did go to that special Comic Con in London, please let me know in the comments, or also check out the Timey Wimey Review X, I was going to say Twitter page then, X page, as I would love to see all your photos from that fantastic weekend. Anyway, back to this episode, and it's kind of what we thought last week when we watched Boom. It was definitely the 15th Doctor's coming out, rubber stamping his authority as the 15th Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa that is, and I felt this is the same for Millie Gibson, Ruby Sunday in this episode, as we started off with the Doctor and Ruby landing in a remote part of Wales. They discover this sort of like, I wouldn't say witchcraft, but some kind of like sort of pentagraph type of thing on the ground to warn away evil spirits. The Doctor accidentally steps on it, and then suddenly the Doctor disappears. So Ruby is on her own, no TARDIS, no Doctor, and no intro as well. We had no Doctor Who intro. It was just a cold opening with the titles and the credits rolling up, and yeah, that was very sort of strange to have experienced, but I would say definitely the right call as well, just to sort of add to the sort of suspense and sort of scariness. I wouldn't want that all the time though, because I did miss that intro to this week, so hopefully sort of all is right in the world for next week. But yeah, it was a brave choice and I approve. So let's talk about Millie Gibson's performance as Ruby Sunday in this episode, because again, it was a brave choice. We were only sort of 4 episodes in. I know we've had this before in the sort of Doctor Who-like episodes in previous seasons. This was a brave choice, but definitely the right choice, because Millie was phenomenal. She absolutely nailed it and carried this episode throughout, to the point where I didn't miss the Doctor. Even though this is Doctor Who, I wouldn't want this week in, week out, and that's not a knock against Ncuti Gatwa's performance as the Doctor either, but it was, it's a bit of a bold experiment, and it definitely paid off, because yeah, she was fantastic. Being this fish out of water type character, having to sort of fend for herself, basically. It's a good job she had a lot of money when she arrived at that very local pub in Wales, and yeah, obviously everyone really sort of ribbing her with the woman that's standing 73 yards. Oh yeah, sorry, I should mention that at the beginning of this episode there is a woman following Ruby with all these sort of hand signals and stuff, pretty much 73 yards from wherever Ruby is, and yeah, they explained it in the episode. That's kind of the average 20/20 vision of a human. They can see up to 73 yards, but not recognize the exact distinct features of a human face. Like I said, Millie Gibson absolutely carried it here in this episode. She was emotional. There was a nice funny moments when she was dating and she said the line about it's not you, it's me. Apart from the bedroom antics, that's totally all on you. I loved that line. I thought that was fantastic. But yeah, she was having to, fend for herself, dealing with getting older as well. Time was passing on, and there was no sign of the Doctor. and she had to sort of move on with her life. So yeah, we had this little montage of her becoming 30 and 40 and still this mysterious figure being there. And yeah, sort of, yeah, it didn't seem like a child anymore. She definitely grew up in the as the episode went on, and literally dealing with this on her own. She was obviously staying at the pub in Wales, and whoever was approaching the mysterious figure, they just went mad and ran away. To the point where obviously the landlady was like, "No, I'm having enough of this. You are freaking out the town folk. Off you go." So she went back home to be with her mum and her grandmother, and that was sort of happening the same. This sort of thing of, how about her mum talks to the woman down the road whilst on a mobile phone, and you don't hear what was being said, but basically, nope, I'm off, and away. And that was happening throughout the episode to whoever sort of Ruby was meeting up with. Susan Twist making an appearance as a rambler or just a random walker, not the zombie kind in Walking Dead, that is. So yeah, a walker. So she went there and just went mad. Is that again a bit of a clue to what happened to this lady? Probably not. I think it was just more coincidence that she made this appearance. Also, I felt was a surprise appearance for Gemma Redgrave, Kate Stewart. She made an appearance in this season. I thought it was going to be a little bit later on, probably towards the season finale, and I'm sure she will be. But this is the first meeting between Kate Stewart and Ruby. So basically, Ruby, I would say she wasn't sought after by. She wasn't looking to search for Unit. Unit found her, knowing that she was a former companion of the Doctor, because in this world, the Doctor has gone, and they're surviving, but clearly missing the influence from our favorite Time Lord. So obviously there were, and the discussion with Millie and Kate, so Ruby and Kate, that was pretty cool. And obviously they all intercepted this strange woman. So Unit was there, and Kate was asking, ordering them not to engage, but there was all sort of chatting to this woman, and obviously Kate heard in the earpiece, and then straight away, with daggers in her eyes, basically said to Ruby, disengage, and she was gone. And my theory is that is basically, I think it's like Ruby's darkest fear of abandonment. I think that's kind of, that's the running sort of theme for this season of Doctor Who, in terms of like feeling abandoned but sort of adopted. They don't know what their life story is in terms of who their real parents are. That's including the Doctor as well, from sort of having the Timeless Child story arc thrown in there. So I think it's basically going into the inner darker psyche of what everyone sort of deals with in terms of that in their mental health, and how to sort of cope with it. And obviously it was driving them mad in that element. Let me know if I'm going way off the ball with that one, but that's my sort of theory on that. I'd love to know yours. In this sense of abandonment, though, I felt that this story, it did remind me of The Curse of Clive Langer from the Sarah Jane Adventures story. If you haven't seen that, do check it out. It is a fantastic two-part story. It just had that sort of elements from them. Now, maybe Russell T borrowed that from Phil Ford, who wrote that story. But yeah, I kind of felt like this was, I think Grown Up would be a bit of more of a harsh sort of tone, because that story in Sarah Jane Adventures is fantastic on its own. But yeah, it kind of, if anything, sort of brought it to a more wider audience. Also, we have our main antagonist for this episode, which is Roger Ap Gwilliam. Now, the Doctor, before he disappeared, explained to Ruby that in the future, he sort of, whoops, spoilers, said that he was like this mad prime minister that brought the UK into the brink, or Britain, or brought the world to the brink of nuclear destruction. And this is what happens. So basically, he rises to power, becomes prime minister, and Ruby figures out that, that's why I'm here. I'm here to stop him become prime minister. That is my sort of goal in life, because of what the doctor said. So she sets out to become a volunteer in his campaign, whether she be a tea lady or just the girl that holds the coat, and she becomes the girl that holds the coat. I quite like that. But this is where I felt the story was starting to go a bit wrong for me. Mainly because I felt the actor that was Roger William was brilliant, but I just don't think he had that much to do. You sort of, you were told how sort of he was a guy that's not good, and sort of like political aspects. I feel like there was shades of Putin going on in there, and there was sort of mentioning of cost of living crisis and stuff like that. And then obviously that he wants the codes for the nuclear weapons that I think he got from Pakistan or Iraq, I think. So you got told all this, but not really shown this, which which for me is sort of like, it could be sort of thought provocative in that sort of sense, but I think just to get that real grasp of, oh my god, this is not a great person, you just didn't see it. And there was like another assistant from there, and I've forgotten the name, so I do apologize. Let me know in the comments who it is. That she had a boy's name, Harry or something like that. I do apologise. And obviously he was kind of being a bit of a sleaze bag to her. But again, we didn't really see it. This is where, we was told so much, and there was a lot packed in, which on one side was impressive. But when I was watching this episode, the postman knocked on the door, so I had to quickly pause it, deal with the postman, came back and noticed that there was only 11 minutes left of this episode, and I thought, oh my gosh, they've got a lot to tie up before this episode ends, and I don't think they quite got it. Because Roger William kind of got disposed of quite easily. Ruby sort of figured it out. They had this big football stadium, and she walked 73 yards away from William, enough for the strange lady to be right next to him. He saw her, freaked out, and resigned, and that was it, type of thing. So, and then Ruby passed away. I think that's kind of what happened. Anyway, it turns out that this old lady of Ruby was Ruby from the future, and it kind of all sort of turned into sort of like a bit of a it didn't quite happen type of thing, because then we saw we go back to Ruby and the Doctor when we first saw him in the episode, and this time the Doctor doesn't step on the thing that's protecting the witchcraft and all that kind of stuff, and it kind of all went to a full circle type of thing. So that was kind of like, it was Ruby, her perception of the future, warning the Ruby of the past not to do that, because obviously bad things will happen. That's what I kind of got from it anyway. And yeah, I'll probably need to rewatch it and sort of explain it a bit better. So I do apologize in my ending explanation there, but again, let me know in the comments your ending explanations. That is my main nitpick. I felt like there was only going to be two sort of options there. If it's with this mysterious lady that's 73 yards away, it was either going to be Susan Twist, which it wasn't, or it was going to be Ruby from the future, which it was. So then you kind of going, right, well, you kind of just railroaded yourself into that sort of ending story to sort of make things all magically go back to the way it was. And yeah, that was a bit sort of a disappointment for me. It just didn't, I don't know how I would have ended it, but it just didn't quite have the ending I was craving for. But having said all that, I did enjoy what we did with Ruby here. I did enjoy all the little sort of winks and nods to things that are coming up. We had the war between the land and the sea name drops a good couple of times, if not maybe more. So is that the hint for the spin-off that's been rumored, heavily rumored, with the Sea Devils? Is that sort of being done there? I mean, is there something that's going to be happening in the future, which I do hope, because you know, with I think we definitely need Roger William back. I think that was a character that was definitely underused. I take it that Kate Stewart and Ruby have not met, so that thing doesn't happen anymore. So it'll be interesting to see towards the end of the season whether Ruby does remember seeing Kate Stewart. This episode fascinated me, but also sort of kind of just collapsed on its own weight as well. It just, yeah, there's something not quite right about it. But like I said, having said all that, I still did enjoy it, and I loved that. I think we are building to something epic, which, well, obviously we're building into something epic for the season finale. But I don't think it's going to be the big sort of, when Russell T was saying about this, I don't think it's to do with like big battles and special effects type of epic, or like multiple characters and stuff. I think it's more in terms of what has been set up. We've got the Susan Twist sort of plot going off. We've got the who's Mrs. Flood. She made an appearance in this episode very briefly. We have Ruby's sort of character sort of developing quite nicely in this sense of abandonment as well, sort of in the sort of dark psyche. Does the Doctor have? Well, the Doctor's got many sort of dark psyche thoughts in his and in his mind. So are we going to be exploring that in this season? So there's been a lot of sort of build up happening for this episode, and I felt like a lot of maturity as well, because the first two with Space Babies, then the Devil's Cord, that was just a lot of fun. And then Boom had the sort of bit more of a drama pathos to it. And same here, this had the chill factor. I'm going to give 73 Yards a TARDIS rating of 6.5 out of 10. I definitely loved the build up of this episode, and what we did with Ruby, and sort of starting to just seeing these threads of plot lines starting to sort of weave its way around the overall season theme. It's starting to come together. We've not got the full picture yet, but it's starting to come together. But I just felt it kind of collapsed on its own weight at the end. But I will take I'll take that ending to have what we established in this episode. I love Ruby's theme, by the way, by Murray Gold. It's just so heartbreaking, but sort of a joy to listen to at the same time. Like I said, Millie Gibson's performance was outstanding. I haven't really seen her in much stuff. I know she was previously in Coronation Street, but yeah, I thought, that those shackles are off now. She is definitely solidified as the companion for the 15th Doctor in this moment in time. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts to 73 Yards. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you find it a bit sort of lackluster from the previous episodes? And also, what's your explanation ending to this episode as well? Because there's been a lot of thoughts and theories going out throughout social media today that I've been sort of keeping an eye on. But yeah, it definitely needs a rewatch. It's definitely worth watching, just for Millie Gibson's performance alone. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, share and subscribe. Hit the close bell for more notifications. Come say hello and follow me on Facebook and X. And do check out my other fantastic Doctor Who related content on the Timey Wimey Review TikTok page, and right here on the Timey Wimey Review YouTube channel. And as the good Doctor once said,